While Nigeria grappled with the consequences of a labor vacuum, Ghana faced the opposite problem, a sudden, overwhelming human surplus that its already crippled economy could not possibly absorb. The return of over 1 million citizens, most of whom arrived with no money and no possessions, placed an unbearable strain on the nation's resources. The military government of Flight Lieutenant Jerry Rawlings was already implementing a harsh economic recovery program and was completely unprepared for a humanitarian crisis of this magnitude. The returnees, who had once sent home vital remittances that propped up the Ghanaian economy, were now dependent on the state for their very survival, creating a massive new burden. The immediate challenge was a logistical nightmare. The government had to provide emergency food, shelter, and medical care for the sudden influx of people. Reception centers were hastily set up in Accra and other cities, but they were quickly overwhelmed. The nation's infrastructure, already crumbling from years of neglect, was pushed to its breaking point. Schools became overcrowded as they tried to accommodate the children of the returnees, and the healthcare system, already short on medicine and staff, was swamped with cases of malnutrition and diseases contracted during the harrowing journey home. The cost of managing this internal refugee crisis diverted scarce funds from other critical areas of national development, setting Ghana back even further. The long-term economic challenge was finding employment for 1 million new job seekers in a country where jobs were already virtually non-existent. Most of the returnees were skilled and experienced workers, but there was simply no industry to absorb them. Many who had been successful teachers, mechanics, or entrepreneurs in Nigeria found themselves idle and unemployed in their homeland, a source of immense frustration and social tension. This massive surge in unemployment depressed wages for everyone and fueled a sense of hopelessness, particularly in urban areas. The returnees, instead of being a boon to the economy, became a symbol of its profound weakness. The Ghana Must Go saga also had a chilling effect on the psyche of the Ghanaian workforce for years to come. It underscored the perils of migration and created a generation that was perhaps more risk-averse, while also fostering a deep-seated resentment that damaged diplomatic and trade relations with Nigeria for a long time. The economic cost for Ghana was not just in the millions of cedis spent on relief efforts, it was in the lost potential of its returned citizens, the strain on its infrastructure, and the reinforcement of a cycle of poverty that the Rawlings government was struggling to break. The homecoming was not a relief, but another chapter in the nation's painful economic struggle. The ghosts of 1983 have proven difficult to exorcise, and their whispers can still be heard in the tensions that flare up between Nigeria and Ghana today. In recent years, particularly around 2019 and 2020, the old animosities resurfaced with alarming intensity, this time on Ghanaian soil. A new wave of anti-Nigerian sentiment swept through parts of the country, fueled by economic anxieties remarkably similar to those that gripped Nigeria decades earlier. Ghanaian traders and business associations began to loudly protest what they saw as the illegal dominance of Nigerian entrepreneurs in their local retail markets. They claimed that Nigerians were flouting laws that reserved small-scale retail trade for Ghanaian citizens, undercutting local businesses, and operating without the correct permits. This economic grievance quickly morphed into a broader narrative that painted the Nigerian community as a source of social ills. Accusations flew, amplified by social media and sensationalist news reports, linking Nigerian immigrants to a rise in crime, from internet fraud to kidnapping. This created a toxic atmosphere of suspicion and fear, where the actions of a few criminals were used to stereotype an entire community of millions. The rhetoric became dangerously familiar. Just as Ghanaians were once branded aliens in Nigeria, Nigerians in Ghana were now being cast as unwelcome outsiders who threatened the economic and social stability of the nation, a narrative that conveniently ignored the deep historical and cultural ties binding the two peoples. These rising tensions did not remain confined to words, they erupted into direct action. In a chilling echo of the past, Ghanaian authorities and trade union task forces began to forcibly shut down hundreds of shops owned by Nigerians in major commercial hubs like Accra and Kumasi. There were reports of intimidation, clashes, and in some cases violent attacks on Nigerian business owners who resisted the closures. The Nigerian government protested, accusing Ghana of xenophobia and a breach of ECOWAS protocols. Online, the bitterness escalated, with hashtags like Nigerians must go and stop xenophobia in Ghana trending, as citizens from both nations engaged in a war of words, reopening historical wounds with fresh vitriol. These modern flashpoints reveal how fragile the peace between the two nations truly is. They demonstrate that the underlying issues of economic competition and national identity have not been resolved but have merely lain dormant, waiting for a moment of economic pressure to re-emerge. The cycle of blame, started in 1969 and brutally escalated in 1983, continues to cast a long and dark shadow over their relationship. Each new incident serves as a painful reminder that the history of Ghana must go is not a closed chapter, but a persistent wound that, if left untended, can be easily torn open again, threatening to repeat the mistakes of the past. Despite the recurring tensions and the deep scars of history, the story of Nigeria and Ghana is not solely one of bitterness and rivalry. There exists a powerful countervailing force of unity, friendship, and shared culture that continues to bind the two nations together in an unbreakable embrace. This connection is most vibrant among the youth, a generation that is often less burdened by the grievances of the past. In the realms of music, fashion, and film, the collaboration between Nigerian and Ghanaian artists is not the exception, but the rule. Afrobeats, the genre that has taken the world by storm, is a testament to this shared creative energy, with artists from both countries influencing each other, performing together, and celebrating a collective West African identity on the global stage. This spirit of camaraderie extends beyond the arts into the daily lives of their people. Nigerians and Ghanaians continue to study in each other's universities, build businesses together, and fall in love, weaving a new tapestry of interconnected families that transcends national borders. In cities like London, New York, and Houston, the Nigerian and Ghanaian diasporas often form a single unified community, sharing cultural centers, places of worship, and social events. They are not rivals but partners, navigating life in a foreign land together. Their shared West African heritage a source of mutual strength and solidarity. This everyday collaboration stands in stark contrast to the divisive rhetoric of politicians and nationalists. However, this hopeful future can only be secured if the painful lessons of the past are actively remembered and taught. Forgetting the trauma of Ghana must go and the cycle of expulsions would be a grave mistake, as it would leave future generations vulnerable to repeating the same errors. The history must be confronted not to assign blame, but to understand the devastating human cost of xenophobia and economic scapegoating. Both nations have a responsibility to educate their citizens about this shared, painful history, to foster empathy, and to build institutional safeguards that protect the rights of all residents, regardless of their nationality, ensuring that political expediency never again leads to such a humanitarian disaster. Ultimately, the path forward lies in embracing their shared destiny. As the two most influential powers in West Africa, the prosperity and stability of Nigeria and Ghana are inextricably linked. They are stronger together than they are apart. The hope for the future rests on their ability to move beyond the cycle of retaliation, to choose brotherhood over bitterness, and to build a relationship founded on mutual respect and a genuine understanding of their complex history. The next time anyone sees that iconic red, white, and blue checked bag, it should serve not as a symbol of division, but as a solemn reminder of the urgent need for healing, dialogue, and a lasting peace between two giant brothers.